Shalom und Laka on faith, lifestyle, and purpose. Hello. Yeah, welcome to my YouTube channel. Oh, what a joy to have you here. And if you're new here, that was just to say welcome. I appreciate you stopping here. I will encourage you to subscribe. I film wholesome content on lifestyle, purpose, faith, and I'd really love for you to join the ride. Okay, so going right into the topic, what do you do when your spouse does not support your purpose? Yeah, I didn't mince words. I didn't say boyfriend, girlfriend, or partner. No, I said spouse because this wonderful hard fact is that the fulfillment of your purpose is largely dependent on who you are married to. Yeah, the fulfillment of your purpose, who you decide to do life with, is very important in achieving and fulfilling that which God has called you to be. All right, now I posted some clips on my Instagram and on here to going behind the scenes about a project I did with my dad. I did a duet with him. I also interviewed him. I really encourage you to click the notification bell. Yeah, let's look forward to that video together because it's amazing, it's awesome, and we're gonna learn a lot from that. Yeah, so in that interview, my dad mentioned, my dad is a missionary, and he mentioned about how he introduced his wife, his fiancée then, to Campus Crusade for Christ in Nigeria. It's a mission organization that is called Great Commission Movement in Nigeria, so yeah, they are both missionaries. I remember there was a time my mom went on a mission trip to Chad. She organized some women, they went together, and it was really something. They went to a place, Niger Republic, a place where you could just be killed like that for preaching Christ and nothing is going to happen. Not any kind of man can allow his wife to go on that kind of trip. Why? I don't want my wife to die. What do you mean you want to go and preach the gospel? Like, what's going on? But hey, they had the training. They were in one mind, because when you look at it, my dad also at some point traveled to Sudan. I think it was northern or southern Sudan now. I don't really recall, but yeah, he went to Sudan to on another mission trip as well. And my mom understood it was okay, for either of them to accept that, hey, I'm going to preach the gospel. And they had enough faith to believe that, hey, my wife is going to come back to me. My husband is going to come back to me. All right. Because of their training, because of their background. I mean, they had enough faith because they knew what the work was all about. They knew what they had signed up their lives for, and they believed and depended totally on God. So yeah, of course, if your partner does not have insight into what your call is, it could get very messy. Yes, to a very large extent, your spouse is a major determinant into whether you will fulfill God's will for your life or not, which is why it is very important for our dependency to be on God as regards who we choose to get married to. Why? Because only He knows the end from the beginning. Only He knows the whole picture. Look at me, for example. There was a time in my life I could not even stand the smell of crayfish. I literally have a whole video, it's titled My Crayfish Story. You see, I have a whole video on that. But see me now, I am able to eat crayfish. I can even eat shrimp now without any problem. Yeah, so I use that very simple example to say, hey, this person you seem to know now, God knows the whole picture of who the person is, who the person is going to become, how the person is going to change, all those details that you don't have, the Lord has. That is why your total dependency has to be on Him, on choosing that person that you get to spend the rest of your life with. There is, I heard from a certain man of God, he said, we don't marry for love, we marry for purpose. Now, you might hear that and be like, what are you saying? Hello, what's going on? But the truth is, what is being in love with someone with whom you cannot do what God has called you to do? Like, what is that life really like? So yeah, I mean, it's get pretty frustrating. As much as your spouse is supposed to be the love of your life, God should be your life, literally. Yeah, He should be the reason you live. God's word says that in Him we live, we move, and we have our being. God is to be our life. So our spouse can be the love of our life, but God is our life. So what a frustrated life it will be if I happen to be with someone with whom I cannot do what God has created me to do. It's such, why sacrifice God for man? Like, hello. Yeah, so giving an other example is Abraham and Sarah. What if Sarah had said, can't you see I'm old? I don't want anything to happen to me. What if I die at birth? My womb is not I'm very frail. It's a miracle that the baby is here, but I'm not about to die while I'm trying to give birth to a child. I'd rather do something to miscarry the baby. Abraham will not be known as the father of many nations if that was the kind of person Sarah was. Now, this is just me reiterating the hard facts that you can fulfill your purpose without being married, but you cannot fulfill your purpose being married to the wrong person. Yeah, you can fulfill your purpose without being married, but it's almost impossible. I say almost because there is nothing impossible with God, and then we're here to find out how to go about fulfilling our purpose, even being in a difficult relationship. Now, before concluding that your partner is not supportive, it is very important that we take time to really decipher what being unsupportive is. Unsupportive means not furnishing support or assistance, and is characterized by display of negation or resistance. Now, it is very important that we separate what support means to us from what support means to our partners. All right, I'm going to use a very simple example. I'll use myself as an example. All right, one of the ways that God has given me the privilege to live out my purpose is by means of making these YouTube videos. All right, that's one of the expressions of me fulfilling my purpose. Now, I would really like to analyze what I would like my husband's support to me to be versus how he supports me. All right, so number one, I would love for my husband to help me campaign whenever my video is out. Like, I really appreciate if you post on his status, post on his Instagram stories. Hey guys, my wife just posted a video, you guys should go and watch. If he sends the link to my YouTube channel to everybody that he knows and say, guys, I would really love that kind of vibe. But then my husband is not the posting type, right? And I've always known that from the beginning. It's not something he just developed, and well, if in future he becomes that person, all well and good, but right now I know that's not him. Okay, rather, this is how he supports me. He goes through the content. Now, not every time. it's not every time. Whenever he has the time to go through, what I put out there, and of course he's like, what's my wife talking about this time? He goes through the content and gives me feedback on what I need to improve on. Like one of the things he told me, he's been telling me this for a while before the Holy Spirit now started pressing it on me. You have to do this, you have to do this. He told me, take time to write down what you want to talk about so that you are not always going left and right, beating about the bush. So you can just go straight to the point and have a smooth delivery. Well, he didn't say it in these exact words, but that's how he said it. And so from time to time he comes and he says, oh, this that you said, I don't think it should be like this. This that you said, no. But this, he said, encourages me, gives me the feedback, not the feedback that I want to hear, usually. Never. The feedback that I need to hear. He speaks the truth, which is why whenever he commends me, it's a big deal because I know he's speaking the truth. Now, for a second definition of support, that I would really love my husband to show towards me would like for him to cheer me on whatever decision I am taking. As long as it's for the kingdom, what price is too great, right? But meanwhile, what he does is investigates those decisions by asking important questions, making me to revisit my motive. So I want to do this, or I want to buy this, or I want to, there's just this project I want to work on. And I tell him about it, I'm excited, Yes, he wants me to do what God has put in my heart to do, but then he's going to ask me those hard questions that will make me sit down and ensure that, hey, am I doing the right thing? Okay, God asked me to do this, but all this fizzy here and there, is it just me adding my own? Am I doing it how God asked me to do what I'm supposed to do? And which is so important. So those things that I may be too soft on myself to see, like my blind sides, my blind spots, he opens my eyes to see it. And that is so awesome and so amazing. So that is just to give an example of what my definition of support is versus what my husband's definition of support is. Now, we define unsupportive as not furnishing support or assistance in any ways characterized by display of negation or resistance. That is what unsupportive really is. Is he resisting you? Hey, no, this thing, you can't do it this way. Or he's telling you, don't you think you should consider this? That is not being supportive. That is opening your eyes to look at a perspective that you may not have seen. How to deal with an unsupportive spouse is to go to God in prayer, is to pray. This is not cliche. This is the truth. The way to deal with it is to pray, because in the place of prayer, we are communicating with God. Our spirits are open to receive from God. We are praying, our hearts are open, and then we receive. And then God tells us how to go about this situation. Sometimes when God is silent, all we need to do is to keep praying. Sometimes he might inspire us to, go and speak to this person about the problem. The person will be able to do something about it, or speak to his pastor. His pastor can talk to him, or speak to his friend, or speak to his mom, or speak to his dad. You see, how to deal with an unsupportive spouse is to pray and ask God for direction. The reason I'm not going to give you 3 steps or 5 steps or 7 steps is because every human is different and complexly beautiful in their own way. It's not a one size fits all kind of situation. It's not, you want to boil rice, okay, do this. No, we are not boiling rice here. This is a human being, and it's such a delicate situation. And for this kind of situation, you need God's wisdom to handle it. So you are going to pray. You're not going to go and start fighting and start there are strategies, and God is going to grant you the grace to know how to go about it. Very, very important that you take very seriously the matter of seeking God's face for who you should spend the rest of your life with, because it will go a long way in determining whether or not you will fulfill God's will and God's purpose for your life.
Ask me. So who killed Ojuku? I don't know that question. Ask another one. Come here.